Welcome to one of New York City's most recognizable landmarks. Officially, it's known as the Fuller Building. However, its distinctive, sharply angled top corner, sliced at a daring 25-degree angle, quickly led people to associate this towering structure with a common household item, a flat iron. And so the name Flatiron stuck, forever branding both the skyscraper and the vibrant district that surrounds it. This unusual, almost whimsical cake slice shape has transformed the building into a magnet for tourists from around the globe. It has made countless appearances in movies, television shows, and glossy magazines. You've likely seen it, even if you've never set foot on the bustling streets of Manhattan. Incredibly, today, this iconic 285-foot-tall Flatiron building stands largely empty, its elegant facade concealing a rather perplexing dispute among its owners. But let's rewind to the beginning. Back in 1901, the Fuller Company, a construction enterprise with vision, acquired a sharply triangular plot of land at the bustling intersection of Broadway and Fifth Avenue. They then commissioned Daniel Burnham, a renowned architect hailing from Chicago, to design the company's new headquarters. The challenge was clear: maximize every single inch of available space. Burnham responded with a design for a 22-story triangular tower, a daring feat of engineering and imagination. The Flatiron building's shape subtly echoed that of a classical Greek column, meaning that its top and bottom were designed to be slightly wider than its middle, adding to its unique aesthetic. The Fuller Company enthusiastically approved the design and proceeded to demolish several older buildings to make way for the future tower. Construction moved at an astonishing pace, a testament to the era's ambition and ingenuity. It was completed in just a single year. Imagine that. The Flatiron Building was one of the first structures to utilize steel for its structural frame, a departure from traditional load-bearing masonry. It also became one of New York's earliest skyscrapers, and remarkably, the first steel skeleton structure to be openly visible to the public. The curtain wall cladding was equally innovative for its time. Builders used terracotta and limestone to create a chic, polished exterior around the steel framework that bore the building's immense weight. At the time, many harbored doubts, believing that this unusual architectural form would be unable to withstand the powerful winds that often swept through the city. The project's engineers meticulously analyzed the tower's aerodynamics and devised a steel frame specifically designed to counteract potential wind-related problems. Despite these precautions, people continued to report experiencing strong gusts of wind on the streets surrounding the building. The Flatiron Building faced other challenges as well. As you can imagine, furnishing such a uniquely shaped space presented a considerable challenge. Furthermore, the original design lacked any restrooms specifically for women. This initially put female tenants at a distinct disadvantage. However, the management team responded by adding ladies' rooms on odd-numbered floors, while men's restrooms were strategically placed on even-numbered floors. The building's first elevators operated on a water hydraulic system, a technology that, while groundbreaking for its time, resulted in a rather slow ascent. It could take over 10 minutes to reach the top floor. It's easy to see why this system didn't become a widespread standard. Unsurprisingly, the media expressed skepticism about the new building. Some critics even derisively dubbed it Burnham's Folly. However, despite the initial doubts and criticisms, the tower has served as home to numerous companies and retail tenants over the years. The Flatiron Building also attracted hordes of curious onlookers, gradually becoming a favorite subject for painters and postcard artists. It evolved into one of the most beloved symbols of New York City itself. In 1929, during the depths of the Great Depression, the tower was sold at auction for a mere $100,000, a fraction of its current value. In 1966, it achieved the status of an official city landmark, meaning that any renovation or demolition work would require the express permission of the authorities. Further solidifying its importance, in 1989, the Flatiron Building received the prestigious designation of a National Historic Landmark. The last tenants vacated the building in 2019, and it has remained empty ever since, primarily due to renovation work that has sparked considerable disagreements among the building's current owners and prospective tenants. Most of the owners favored converting the building into a hotel, while Nathan Silverstein, who held a 25% stake in the property, advocated for dividing it up into smaller units. Finally, in 2023, a local court organized an auction for the building. The owners, holding the majority 75% stake, intended to buy out Silverstein's share, hoping to resolve the ongoing disputes over the building's future once and for all. The bidding commenced at $50 million, and the price quickly escalated to a staggering $190 million, thanks to an unexpected bidder, Jacob Garlick. In a stunning turn of events, he outbid everyone and won the auction. Some observers considered the price he offered to be excessively high, given that the building required at least $100 million worth of renovations. But the story takes an even stranger twist. Garlick vanished after the auction. He never paid a single cent, not even the deposit, and he has yet to offer any explanation to the media. As of now, Garlick's location and intentions remain a mystery. Who could have imagined that it was possible to attend a high-profile auction in New York, outbid all competitors, and then simply disappear into thin air? According to real estate experts, this is a highly unusual situation for a building auction. Typically, bidders are required to demonstrate proof of funds. Imagine investing a fortune into a New York City landmark, only to see your plans crumble. That's the drama unfolding around the Flatiron Building. For over a century, this iconic triangular skyscraper has stood as a symbol of innovation and resilience. But recently, its future has become shrouded in uncertainty. Some might recall the saga that began when the Flatiron Building went up for auction. One bidder, a certain Garlick, stirred suspicion. Did Silverstein, another interested party, encourage Garlick's presence to artificially inflate the price? Silverstein denied any close relationship. Ultimately, a coalition of syndicates and previous owners secured the Flatiron for a cool $11 million. Their intentions remain a mystery, leaving the fate of this beloved structure hanging in the balance. The Flatiron, though just 121 years young, has weathered countless storms, from architectural challenges to economic downturns like the Great Depression. This architectural icon is sure to surprise us again. Speaking of troubled skyscrapers, have you heard about the Leaning Tower of Manhattan? This 670-ton behemoth, located where South Street meets Maiden Lane, was intended to house 80 luxury condos, each priced up to $7 million. Developers even envisioned offering yacht services to the fortunate residents. Pre-sales launched in 2018, promising unparalleled waterfront living. But disaster struck in 2020 when the tower began to tilt precariously, leaning 3 inches to the north. Construction ground to a halt as investigators scrambled to determine the cause. While the official explanation remains elusive, a weak foundation seems the most likely culprit. A simple miscalculation that threatens to doom a multi-million-dollar project. And then there's the legendary Waldorf Astoria, a haven for royalty, celebrities, and dignitaries for decades. A place where Marilyn Monroe once graced its halls and Grace Kelly accepted a prince's proposal. But in 2017, this Art Deco masterpiece closed its doors for a massive, multi-billion-dollar renovation. Its new Chinese owners, Anbang Insurance, plan to convert a portion of the hotel into luxury condos, with prices soaring as high as $18 million per unit. However, the project has been beset by delays and setbacks. The completion date has been pushed back to 2025, and rumors swirl of cost overruns exceeding $2 billion. Insiders whisper of poor coordination and the dismissal of the American director, compounded by the troubles of Anbang Insurance Group, whose chairman was imprisoned for fraud in 2018. The future of the Waldorf Astoria, once a beacon of glamour, hangs precariously in the balance. Perhaps it's best to book elsewhere on your next visit to the Big Apple. The Heartbreak Hotel story is another tale of woe in the city that never sleeps. In 2019, a development firm, the Citra Group, broke ground on a 33-story hotel near Madison Square Garden and Penn Station. This project was slated to open in 2021, joining the IHG Hotels and Resorts portfolio. But the developer failed to repay its loan and construction stalled, leaving an unfinished eyesore. An estimated $16 million is needed to complete the project. But New York isn't just about human dramas and high-stakes real estate. It's also a city teeming with ants. Every morning, 8.5 million humans awaken in New York City. But they are not alone. An estimated 17 billion ants share their urban landscape. They dwell in the walls of apartment buildings, hide in the grass, crawl under asphalt, and climb trees. For every New Yorker, there are countless ants scurrying beneath their feet. City ants enjoy a life of relative luxury compared to their forest-dwelling cousins. They never have to search far for food. Millions of people leave behind a constant stream of scraps, hot dog crumbs, pizza crusts, and spilled coffee. These insects simply wait for the next lunch break in an office building, then descend upon benches, parks, and cafe tables. A veritable feast awaits. Over 1 billion ants traverse the streets and parks of Manhattan. Among them, scientists have discovered tiny reddish-brown creatures unlike any other. These insects defy classification, belonging to none of the 13,000 known ant species. They are unique, endemic to Manhattan, their kingdom confined to the area between 63rd and 76th Streets. Scientists are still trying to unravel the evolutionary history of these Manhattan ants. It's believed they arrived in the U.S. on ships from Europe, becoming isolated from other ant populations by the city's infrastructure. But with so much food readily available, why would they venture elsewhere? The Manhattan ant possesses a particular fondness for fast food, especially corn syrup. This sugary diet leads to an increased carbon content in their bodies, which surprisingly aids them in adapting to the dry, warm climate of the concrete jungle. Imagine New York City, a concrete jungle teeming with life. Unbelievably, nearly 20% of this metropolis is home to white-footed mice, Paromyscus leucopus. These aren't your average field mice. Scientists have discovered that the New York population has undergone a remarkable evolutionary shift, diverging genetically from their rural cousins. The culprit? Our discarded feasts. These urban mice have adapted to a diet rich in human food waste. Consider this. New York mice now possess enlarged livers, essential for efficiently processing the deluge of fatty acids they consume from fast food remnants. Now, let's journey to the heart of Manhattan, to Central Park. This sprawling green oasis, almost twice the size of Monaco, harbors secrets within its borders. Here, and nowhere else on Earth, dwells Hoffman's dwarf centipede. This minuscule creature, barely exceeding 0.4 inches in length, navigates the world on an astonishing 41 pairs of legs, finding refuge in piles of decaying plant matter. Our planet holds countless hidden ecosystems. Deep within the Earth, in a small thermal spring near Socorro, New Mexico, lives a crustacean so rare it's almost mythical. The Socorro isopod. Measuring a mere 0.3 inches, this tiny being thrives in water reaching a scorching 90 clubofolia, a haven coated in a layer of nutrient-rich algae. These seemingly inhospitable conditions are, for this isopod, paradise. Now, picture a place of true isolation, a realm untouched by sunlight for millions of years. To reach the Mobile Cave in Romania, one must descend 65 feet, the equivalent of a 4-story building, by rope. Then, a claustrophobic crawl through narrow passages, followed by a frigid swim through a subterranean canal. The air here is thick with the poisonous stench of ammonia and hydrogen sulfide. For 5.5 million years, this extreme environment has remained sealed off from the outside world, nurturing a unique and bizarre ecosystem. Within this toxic atmosphere, a collection of strange creatures has evolved. 33 species of millipedes, scorpions, spiders, and leeches exist solely within this cave system. These beings are largely blind and devoid of color. After all, what need is there for sight or camouflage in perpetual darkness? Perhaps the most formidable resident of Mobile Cave is the venomous centipede. Scientists have playfully dubbed it the king of the cave. Though it grows to a maximum of only 2 inches, in this subterranean world, it reigns as a giant. The blind salamander, Typhlomalge rathbuni of Texas, might find kindred spirits among the denizens of Mobile Cave. However, these pale, ghostly creatures are separated by vast oceans and thousands of miles. These salamanders, reaching lengths of up to 5 inches, reside in underground waterways near San Marcos, Texas. Their name gives away their most obvious trait. They are blind. While they possess eyes, they are essentially useless in their lightless world. Yet this doesn't hinder their hunting prowess. They are adept predators of snails and shrimp, sensing the subtle underwater vibrations created by their prey. Moving above ground, let's travel to the rugged highlands of northern Scotland, home to the Scottish wildcat, Felis sylvestris grampia. This is no pampered house cat lounging on a sofa. The Scottish wildcat is a formidable hunter, a creature of pure instinct and power. It's significantly larger than its domesticated cousins, often exceeding them in size by 25%. Muscular and long-legged, it's built for survival in a harsh landscape. Its tail is a distinctive feature, blunt, fluffy, adorned with black rings, and tipped with a solid black marking. Now, prepare for an encounter with perhaps the most cheerful-looking animal on Earth, the quokka, Cetonix brachurus. This small marsupial, native to Australia, seems perpetually ready for a photo opportunity, its face frozen in an endearing smile. The majority of the quokka population, approximately 10,000 individuals, resides on Thinnest Island, with smaller populations scattered elsewhere. This characteristic smile is not an expression of happiness, but rather an evolutionary adaptation. An open mouth aids in both breathing and regulating body temperature. Be warned, however. Attempting to feed a quokka will result in a hefty fine of over $200. Imagine holding a chameleon on your fingertip. On the island of Madagascar lives the nano chameleon, Brachysia nana, a reptile so tiny it could comfortably perch on your little finger. Scientists have discovered only 2 specimens of this miniature marvel, a male and a female. The reason for their diminutive size, never exceeding that of a sunflower seed, remains a mystery. Staying on Madagascar, we encounter another unique creature, the ii, Daubentonia madagascariensis. This unusual lemur, known locally as IA, spends its life amongst the trees, adopting a nocturnal lifestyle. This may explain its perpetually weary appearance. While classified as a lemur, the II possesses a bizarre combination of features. Its teeth resemble those of a rodent, its claws mimic those of a sloth, and its overall body structure evokes that of a monkey. Its fingers and toes are particularly striking, long, slender, and tipped with sharp, pointed claws. Now, imagine a giraffe, its iconic long neck reaching for the highest leaves. Nearby, a zebra grazes, its black and white stripes shimmering in the sun, a natural mechanism for reflecting sunlight during the day and retaining warmth at night. But what if these 2 disparate creatures were somehow combined? Nature has already accomplished this feat in the form of the okapi, Okapia johnstoni. The okapi resembles a giraffe with a shortened neck, the body of a horse, and zebra-like stripes adorning its legs. These elusive animals also possess remarkably long tongues. Male okapi sport small, giraffe-like horns on their heads. These unusual animals are endemic to the dense rainforests of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Let's journey to the African rainforest, but then we must venture to the breathtaking Ethiopian highlands. Here, a truly unique primate awaits, the Galata monkey. And no, these charismatic creatures aren't named after that delicious Italian treat, gelato. These monkeys look like rock stars straight out of the 70s, boasting bright coloration and enviable hairstyles. But don't let their cool looks fool you. It's best not to disturb them. Gelatas, Theropithecus gelata, spend most of their days foraging on the ground, their primary diet consisting of the grasses that blanket the highlands. Paleontologists believe that these remarkable monkeys are the last surviving members of an ancient lineage, a once widespread group that roamed across vast territories stretching from South Africa all the way to India millions of years ago. Now, imagine creatures the size of the Statue of Liberty coexisting with us. It sounds like the stuff of science fiction, doesn't it? Yet, within the animal kingdom, such dramatic scale differences are a reality. Consider the world's smallest tortoise, the speckled tortoise, Homopus signatus, which barely reaches 4 inches in length. Contrast this with the behemoths of the Galapagos Islands, the giant tortoises, Chelonoidus nigra, some of which can grow to an astonishing 5 feet long. These gentle giants weigh as much as a sports bike. The heaviest recorded individual tipped the scales at an incredible 1,000 pounds. These Galapagos giants can live for over a century, spending up to 16 hours a day asleep, their slow metabolism allowing them to endure an entire year without food or water. Millions of years ago, picture this: lizards from the South American mainland clinging to a fallen log. The relentless ocean currents carried this makeshift raft across the vast Pacific, transporting its scaly passengers hundreds of miles to the remote Galapagos Islands. To survive in this new environment, these lizards had to evolve, adapting to the unique conditions of their island home. Scientists believe that this is how the marine iguana, Amblyrhynchus cristatus, came to be. These extraordinary animals might resemble fearsome dragons, but they are, in fact, primarily herbivores, peacefully grazing on underwater plants. Marine iguanas spend much of their lives submerged, and to combat the buildup of salt in their bodies, they have developed a rather peculiar method of excretion. They literally sneeze salt. Now, let's consider the lyrebird. This remarkable creature lives only in southeastern Australia and the island of Tasmania. Its name comes from its magnificent tail, which, when fanned out, resembles a lyre, an ancient Greek stringed instrument. But lyrebirds, Menura novae hollandii, are most famous for their incredible ability to mimic sounds. They don't just imitate other birds, they can perfectly replicate animal screams, human voices, the whine of a chainsaw, car alarms, the click of a camera. An entire symphony of the modern world. Imagine a saltwater lake appearing on a remote island in Palau around 12,000 years ago. Today it's known as Jellyfish Lake. This incredible lagoon, roughly 1,500 feet by 500 feet, is home to an estimated 5 million golden jellyfish, Mastigias papua et pisoni. Every morning, these unique creatures undertake a remarkable migration, swimming en masse to the western shore of the lake. There, they patiently await the sunrise. Throughout the day, they follow the sun's path across the sky. Algae live symbiotically within the jellyfish's tissues, providing them with energy through photosynthesis. These algae are dependent on sunlight, explaining the jellyfish's daily pilgrimage. Here's a riddle. Which U.S. city is so beloved that its name is repeated twice? That's right, New York, New York! But how much do we truly know about this iconic metropolis? I'm talking about the city beneath the city, the hidden world that lies beneath the bustling streets. Are you brave enough to join me on an underground tour of the Big Apple? Grab your flashlight, it's about to get dark. Our journey begins in the heart of Manhattan, in front of the Romanesque City Hall building. Believe it or not, beneath our feet lies New York's oldest subway station, the Old City Hall Station. It opened on October 27, 1904, a night of unbridled celebration for New Yorkers. People were so thrilled by this new mode of transportation that some spent the entire night riding the trains back and forth. Before the subway, urban dwellers relied on horse-drawn carriages. It's no wonder the subway was such an instant success. Stepping inside the Old City Hall station is like stepping back in time. The architecture is simply dazzling, truly one of a kind. They certainly don't build subway stations like this anymore. Fun fact, the Old City Hall station would cost an estimated $6.2 million to build today. Back in its heyday, it boasted dozens of brass chandeliers, making it one of the few places in the city with functioning electricity. And let's not forget the brand new multicolored tiled arches and stained glass ceilings, many of which can still be seen today. Impressive, isn't it? If you decide to wander down the tracks, you might be in for a treat. Underground New York is just as fascinating as the city above ground, but one thing we often take for granted is the infrastructure that keeps the Big Apple functioning. Down here, you might stumble upon one or two of New York's pneumatic mail tubes. These tubes were built in the 1800s and remained operational until the 1950s. They were responsible for distributing mail between different post offices, with letters zipping through the network at an impressive speed of 35 miles per hour, almost as fast as a professional runner. It sounds like a remarkably efficient system, But it's still a little strange to imagine people's correspondence whizzing around 15 feet underground. Back to street level, Will. Imagine strolling down the famed Lexington and Park Avenues in New York City. As you gaze upwards, you can't miss the iconic Waldorf Astoria, a five-star hotel steeped in history. Celebrities like John Lennon and Yoko Ono have graced its halls, along with presidents like Franklin D. Roosevelt. But did you know this hotel harbored a secret? Beneath its foundations lies a hidden infrastructure, a clandestine tunnel known as Track 61. This secret passage connected the Waldorf Astoria to the bustling Grand Central Station, allowing VIPs to slip in and out unnoticed. This track was officially deactivated in the late 1970s, but legend has it that Andy Warhol threw a legendary party down there sometime in the 80s. A truly unforgettable event, no doubt. Now, let's venture uptown. We'll hop on the subway and disembark at 125th Street, emerging onto the picturesque waterfront of Riverside Park. Here, amidst the greenery, lie the forgotten tracks of an old metro line. Follow these tracks, and they'll lead you to an underground graffiti gallery, a hidden world known as the Freedom Tunnel. This tunnel is named after a graffiti artist from the 1980s, known only as Freedom. As we explore these subterranean passages, we'll discover over 40 of his vibrant murals, painted over a span of 15 years. Keep an eye out for his striking spray paint depictions of James Dean, the Mona Lisa, and even a self-portrait of Freedom himself. Let's continue our exploration, venturing further north into the city. A walk through Van Cortlandt Park feels like a hike in the serene upstate wilderness, yet we are still firmly within the city limits. Along the way, we'll encounter colossal ventilation towers constructed of weathered stone. These imposing structures are remnants of New York's past, forming part of the old Croton Aqueduct. Back in the 1800s, the city's water supply flowed through a 41-mile-long underground tunnel, stretching all the way from the Croton River in upstate New York to Bryant Park in Midtown Manhattan. And speaking of Bryant Park, it wasn't always a park. Once, a colossal stone structure dominated the landscape, resembling something the ancient Egyptians might have constructed. This 4-acre structure served as the city's water reservoir, complete with a pathway on top where people could enjoy a leisurely afternoon stroll while admiring the reservoir's crystalline waters. All this exploring is sure to have worked up an appetite. Fortunately, our next stop involves a culinary delight. We'll leave Manhattan behind and make our way to Brooklyn. As you may know, New York City comprises 5 boroughs: Manhattan, Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island, and Brooklyn. Our destination is Crown Heights. Would you believe me if I told you that beneath these ordinary streets lie caves brimming with aging cheese? How very Parisian. To reach these subterranean cheese havens, we'll have to enter a century-old building, now bustling with modern office spaces. A quick wave to the hard-working folks above, and then we disappear down one of the stairways, descending 30 feet below ground. No need for a flashlight here. The caves are well lit and carefully renovated, capable of holding up to 22,000 pounds of cheese. Be warned, though, the air is thick with the pungent aroma of ripening cheese. This is precisely why cheesemakers historically favored underground tunnels for aging their delectable creations. After a bite or two of some truly exceptional cheese, let's continue our urban adventure. Still in Brooklyn, you might spot locals enjoying a sunny day at the McCarran Park Pool. This pool is a major attraction, boasting a size 3 times that of an Olympic pool. As seasoned NYC explorers, we might even take a refreshing dip. But there's a far more intriguing aspect to this attraction. Built in the early 1900s, the pool was shut down in the 1950s. During this period of abandonment, urban explorers discovered a hidden network of underground tunnels directly beneath the pool. Naturally, a secret entrance exists, allowing us to take a peek for ourselves. Inside, we'll find the pool's intricate filtration and heating system, along with a vibrant collection of graffiti from its abandoned era. Now, for a slightly unusual question, have you ever seen a cow in New York City? Probably not, and there's a reason for that. New York City still harbors remnants of underground tunnels that were once used for cattle transportation. As New York became increasingly dominated by automobiles, cows became a traffic impediment. To solve this bovine bottleneck, A 200-foot-long cow passage was constructed beneath 12th Street, designed to transport livestock arriving from New Jersey. Sadly, this tunnel is no longer accessible to the public, likely destroyed over time. However, historians have uncovered blueprints that confirm its existence. Adding to the city's list of subterranean secrets, archaeologists recently unearthed a remarkable fossil. Imagine peeling back the layers of the city's soil. At a depth of 1.5 feet, we encounter a tangled web of wires, TV cables, electrical conduits, and more. Digging deeper, at 4 feet, we find water and sewage pipes. But at 15 feet below the surface of NYC, excavators made an extraordinary discovery: a fossilized shipwreck. The wreck lies directly beneath Broad Street, a location that was once covered by shallow water. Let's journey back in time. Not millions of years, but a few centuries. Imagine the 1600s. At the bottom of the ocean, a shipwreck lies, a silent testament to a bygone era. This isn't just any old wreck. It stretches an impressive 92 feet in length and spans 25 feet in width. But the secrets of New York City don't stop at the waterfront. Picture this. At the intersection of Bowery and Canal Street, engineers make an astonishing discovery. They stumble upon a hidden room, its walls and ceiling entirely covered in mirrors. The purpose of this bizarre chamber remains a complete mystery to this day. Our underground exploration of the Big Apple is nearing its end, but we've done more than just scratch the surface, haven't we? Before we resurface, let's indulge in a classic New York treat, a good old-fashioned bagel. Who knows, maybe our next adventure will take us to Paris or even London. Until then, farewell, fellow explorers. Wow, just look at this incredible metropolis. New York City, the Big Apple, the city that never sleeps. Some call it Hong Kong on the Hudson, others, the greatest city in the world. They even say New York is so nice, they named it twice. But beneath the glitz and glamour, there's a secret. A hidden facade, quite literally. New York is home to some of the most iconic urban buildings in the world, including some of the most unique and famous towers. But who would suspect that New York is also a front for fake buildings? The cool thing is, there are plenty to search for. Add it to your bucket list. But why? Why construct these deceptive buildings all over New York? Well, this city is one of the most vibrant places on Earth, and that takes a lot of infrastructure to keep it running smoothly. Think industrial structures and buildings in every major district. New York is celebrated for its design and architecture. But imagine having an electrical substation or a subway vent right next to your favorite pizza parlor or hot dog stand. Not exactly charming, is it? So, the designers of yesteryear came up with a clever solution. Disguise those industrial necessities as fake buildings. They blend in seamlessly, looking like your typical apartment or housing unit, complete with a front door, realistic windows, and even charming balconies where you might expect people to relax. The only catch? There's absolutely nothing behind the facade, and no one is allowed inside. So, where can you find these architectural illusions? For starters, head to Brooklyn. At 58 Joralemon Street, you'll find a seemingly ordinary neighborhood. But nestled among the regular buildings is a brick structure with a slightly deeper shade than the rest. It features bright, open windows that mimic the surrounding buildings, except these windows are blacked out. At first glance, you might not notice anything amiss. But if you look closer, the building seems like a glitch from a video game. Constructed in 1847, long before New York became synonymous with glamour, it was initially intended as a regular building. However, in 1908, it was converted into a fake building. Don't even think about trying to break in. Even if you could, it would be pointless. The building is actually part of a ventilation system for the subway, and it also serves as an emergency exit for some of the nearby buildings. In fact, throughout New York, many fake buildings exist to conceal subway vents, allowing smoke to escape. Let's travel to 415 Bronx River Avenue in the Bronx. Here you'll find a townhouse designed by the Switzer Group, an interior architecture firm. While not as charming as the one on Joralemon Street, it serves a similar purpose: hiding an electrical substation for New York's utility company. The city relies on these substations to reduce high-voltage electricity to a usable level for local distribution. Having a building like this abruptly appearing in the middle of a neighborhood isn't the best way to attract residents to the Bronx. That's why the fake townhouse facade provides the perfect camouflage. Now, some of these deceptive buildings don't quite hit the mark and end up sticking out like a sore thumb. Locals in Manhattan describe the Murray Square infrastructure as a complete eyesore. After numerous redesigns and countless meetings, the result is still underwhelming. The locals often compare it to a concrete box. It features windows without glass, preventing it from blending in with the surrounding neighborhood. But hey, it's still better than a typical subway ventilation plant. But if you live in China, you can literally stay in the country and visit many iconic cities around the world. The replica cities began when the Chinese economy started booming in the early 90s. They wanted the lifestyle of the rich and famous without wanting to leave their country. They can be comfortable eating their local food and get the feeling of being abroad. The Chinese province of Guangdong has an identical copy of a historical Australian alpine village. The real Hallstatt is centuries old and one of imagine a place where you can stroll beneath the Eiffel Tower without leaving China. Let's journey to Tianducheng, also known as Sky City. Here, in the heart of China, stands a replica of Paris, a testament to architectural ambition on a grand scale. But the residents of Tianducheng had no idea that their unique home was being constructed. Some considered the $940 million price tag controversial. Paris, with its rich history and vibrant culture, is a city that beckons travelers from around the globe. For the residents of Tianducheng, a taste of Paris is always within reach. The city boasts an Eiffel Tower, eerily similar to the iconic Parisian landmark, surrounded by buildings designed to capture the visual charm of the original. However, the illusion falters at the edges. Vast farmlands surround the city, and the streets often remain eerily empty, a stark contrast to the bustling boulevards of Paris. Despite this, you can still find delightful fountains and statues, scattered like gems, adding a touch of spirit to the scene. Laundry hangs everywhere, even draped across the trees. The picturesque fountains stand dry, and many apartments remain vacant. Only a handful of stores are open for business. Though it may seem like a mere imitation, Tianducheng is a real city, home to people who find it more affordable than other areas. Just a couple of hours away lies another echo of Paris, a replica of the Pont Alexandre III. And for those craving a taste of London, there's a version of Tower Bridge, reimagined with 4 towers instead of the traditional 2, a bargain, perhaps? Fancy a trip to Italy? Then Florencia Village awaits. This outlet mall, built by an Italian developer, seeks to capture the very essence of an Italian village. Fountains gurgle, canals wind through the streets, and mosaics adorn the walls, creating a pleasing aesthetic. Since its opening in 2011, Florencia Village has grown to house over 200 shops, showcasing a mix of Italian, British, American, and Chinese brands. Its popularity is undeniable, drawing between 10,000 and 25,000 visitors each day. But China's architectural ambitions don't stop there. Venture into the Yuqiao Financial District, a mini Manhattan in the making. The developer's vision was to create a world-class financial hub, complete with replicas of iconic landmarks like the Rockefeller and Lincoln Centers. However, the project was halted in 2019, leaving much of the district empty and silent. Alternatively, step into a typical English town, with cobblestone streets, Victorian homes, and restaurants that attempt to recreate a European lifestyle fantasy, all without leaving Shanghai. Or perhaps a Dutch town will pique your interest, complete with windmills and canals reminiscent of Amsterdam. They even replicated landmarks like the Netherlands Maritime Museum. Now, let's turn to a tale of architectural spite. In Lebanon stands the country's thinnest building, born out of a bitter dispute. 2 brothers inherited unequal plots of land, and one, burdened with a particularly narrow strip, harbored envy for his brother's more generous inheritance. Both properties overlooked the Mediterranean Sea in a vibrant Beirut neighborhood, fueling the tension between the siblings. It was clear that the brother with the larger plot could construct a substantial building, while the other had to be more inventive. Driven by spite, the brother with the narrow plot decided to obstruct his siblings' view. He erected a slender building, measuring a mere 14 feet at its widest and a minuscule 2 feet at its narrowest. Constructed in 1954, the building is known locally as the Grudge. Incredibly, the building was once habitable, welcoming visitors who sought a unique living experience. While life within its walls wasn't easy, it was certainly memorable. Today, the building still stands, a silent testament to a family feud, but it is now empty.